All right, morning everybody. Welcome back to Ironside Ties, and our fly today is the Rico. This is a great Euro nymph pattern, but it also works really well as a stillwater fly, either under an indicator or works slow on a hand twist retrieve. But it's been a really good one for me, and hope you guys enjoy it. And hook today is just a typical X series jig hook, size 14. Tie these 14s and 16s. Bead is a 3 mil silver, and silver is definitely my confidence color in this pattern, so I stick with it. Tail and body are going to be this really cool bleached ginger pheasant tail. Thorax is going to be a nice bright orange dub, and this is a synthetic dub. You can see a little bit of that synthetic flash in there, but not ice dub. Don't like ice dub for this one, so stick with something a little finer. Wire is going to be brassie size silver, and thread is going to be some fluorescent orange UTC 70, and then we're going to need a dubbing twister and some kind of clamp to manage our CDC. So let's get this started, get our bead oriented the correct direction on there, and a few thread wraps to kind of lock it in place a little bit. I don't stress too much about that. It's not going anywhere. Now we're going to start with our wire. Before we do anything else, we're going to get our wire lashed in here on my side of the hook shank, and I do like it there very specifically down this side of the shank, and I'll show you why in a minute. But we're going to run that back on this side of the shank all the way back to the bend here. Then we're going to take and wrap kind of one wrap back up over the top where we're going to get started with our tail. Now we're going to grab our pheasant tail. I'm going to grab on a size 16, probably 6 or 8 fibers or so. Pluck those off there, get the tail tips aligned. Now we're going to come in here and kind of measure our tail off where we want it. Then we're going to pinch wrap this in place, and we're going to try real hard to stack it right where our thread is jumped back up on the body. And there you go. That's about the tail we want. So I kind of did that with 2 wraps. If you need to at this point, you can slide those a little shorter if you need to, but we nailed it on that one. So now we're going to give it one more kind of tighter wrap over the top like that, and then we're going to just spiral wrap back up to the front. Now I'm going to do a couple of things different than what you may do. I'm actually going to wrap this pheasant counter wrap, so I'm going to go around and over the top towards me. That just helps. I like how the wire ties off better that way. That's all I'm going to say about that until we get there. But then I'm going to take a little dab of super glue under here, and I'm just going to reinforce that body with just a little dab of super glue on the hook. So now we're going to start wrapping forward, and just wrap a nice body in there, right up to our thorax, and tie that off. Few good turns, snip that out of there. Now our wire, this is why I was very specific on how I tied in my wire. This little spot right here is kind of a vulnerable spot. We only got a couple of turns of thread there where we tied our tail and then transitioned to our body. So we're going to take our wire and we're actually going to reinforce that spot with the first wrap of our wire. Going to go right over top of that tie-in point there, and just helps protect it a little bit from sharp teeth. So, and then we're going to start working forward with our ribbing here, just working our way up in nice evenly spaced ribs. And now when you get up here with your wire, it's facing towards you guys, away from you as the tire, and that to me is just the easiest way to tie off wire. So I always like my wire to be going over the top away from me, because it just ties off so much better. So now I'm going to pull down real tight with my thread, grab my wire, kind of kink it back over itself, and just like that it'll pop off with a couple little helicopter turns. And we're just going to cover up the butt ends, everything there, and move over to our thorax. And so we're going to grab some dubbing, and this is a synthetic dub, so less is more to get this started on the hook shank. But we do want to build up a little bulb of dubbing there for a nice thorax. So you can use a little bit more dubbing than. I'm not going to tell you to be as sparse as you do on some of these tiny little Euro nymphs, but because we're building a whole little bulbous thorax here. So now we're just going to build a little ball. for our thorax right there. And there you go. Leave just a little bit of space behind the bead that we can squeeze in our CDC. So I think I may have forgot to mention the CDC, but so we're going to put a dubbing loop in there, grab our dubbing twister, and the CDC I'm using for this one is this is a brown color. Don't worry too much about color of CDC. I really don't think it matters all that much to fish, but the brown does look really good with this bleached ginger. So now we're just going to grab our little material clip, and I'm just using the Stoneflow here. Use whatever flavor you like, but this is kind of their small one. You can see kind of compared to my finger the size of it. But I use this one pretty consistently on my CDC Euro nymph stuff because it gives me a real consistency from fly to fly of that much CDC from fly to fly. Anyway, a little more, probably worried a little more about that than I need to, but that's why I use this one. Anyway, we'll pop that in our dubbing loop, get our thread to clamp down on that, and then make sure you open up nice and wide so you don't take any of those CDC fibers with you. Ask me how many times I've made that mistake. And then we'll just spin that up, and with CDC you don't really have to spend a whole lot of time there spinning up nice and tight. But and we're just going to start wrapping. A little collar of CDC here, and I do like to stroke all the fibers back. Spent the time getting those fibers in there. We want them to be in place where they'll do the best. So then to tie this off, to keep from getting too much bulk up here on the head, I just wrap my thread around my dubbing loop a few times, and then one simple turn, 2 turns, whatever there, and that's tied off without any extra bulk added with thread wraps there. Now to finish this off and kind of dress up the front and coax our CDC towards the rear a little better, we are going to grab another little tiny pinch of dubbing here and get that spun on here. Slide that up and just corral all that CDC and just a little teeny bit of dubbing in there. Forces our CDC back and gives us another little collar on there. And then to finish this off, going back to our super glue here, I have switched to super glue for my heads on just about everything I tie these days, if I'm not putting resin on it. And then throw in a quick 1, 2, 3 turn whip and slide that out of there. And if you move out fairly quick when you're doing that, you'll be able to get that whip finish in there before your super glue starts to set. And then our fibers are pretty close on, pretty good on this one. I'm just gonna, there's a couple of long ones out there, so pardon me while I'm all fingers here for a second. Just break off a little bit of that CDC, but you want it to be back to between, basically you want it to end between the body and the end of the tail. Just somewhere in that tail is where you want those fibers, and some variation there is actually excellent in to have some variation in length, just add some great movement. But there you go, guys. That's the Rico. Fun little tie, quick tie, and very effective. And one of the cool things about this is using that orange thread. Your body, when it gets wet here, you get a little bit of orange translucence there that kind of bleeds through. Just a great fly. Fish love it, and been a great one for me. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that one, and we'll catch you on the next one.